Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classes of Cinematics. And I'm joined as always with my co-host, we got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, folks, and today we got a very special classic film, man. We're going to be talking about Coffee from 1973. And shout out to the AFI Silver Theater.
Yes.
That's where we actually saw this last Friday. We got a chance to actually see this on the big screen, which I highly recommend. Shout out to George Pelicanos from The Wire fame, and I think he recently worked on writing as well on We Run This City. He's a prolific author from this area. He's got over 20 novels published, a lot of film and TV work.
And also, if you got a Pluto account, there's a film that he directed. It's an anthology called DC Noir, and he did 2 of those stories that spawned from books or novels that he wrote. That was a pretty cool indie film as well.
Yeah, so check it out. I think you could also see this film again, over the next few weeks. So he's running his own programming. So he did like several films that he picked out for his exploitation film run that he's doing, and Coffee happened to be one of them. So figured it would be cool to check that out. And it's kind of cool too that this coincides with Black History Month, talking about this film, because I think there's some historical aspects of this film as well.
Yeah.
But in it, we have a nurse whose name is Coffee, and she has seen the ill effects of drugs up close, but it isn't until her sister becomes addicted to heroin that she finally decides to wage a one-woman battle. Disguised as a prostitute, Coffee goes on a killing rampage, at first going after street dealers and pimps such as Sleazy, King George, then gradually working her way up to bigger honchos. She's shocked, however, when she discovers that her politician boyfriend is also involved. And this film came out June 13th, 1973. That's my birthday. I wasn't born by then.
You mean
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, you went back? Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Directed by Jack Hill. Budget was $500 million. It said it grossed about $4 million US dollars. And I guess that's just a theater. Yeah, great flip. Because I feel like, by the time VHS and all that hit, then this film probably was another runaway hit as well. And our cast, we got some heavy hitters here, people that would go on to do great things. And we're going to start with Pam Grier, who plays Coffee. And I think this is her first feature solo film. And we get Booker Bradshaw in this, Robert DoQui. You probably recognize him as the police chief in RoboCop. He plays King George the pimp here.
Great pull.
Also get Lisa Farringer, the legend Sid Haig.
Mr. Sid, all
rest in
day.
peace, man.
Yes,
We also get William Elliott, who plays Carter. Morris Buchanan. I feel like Morris is in a couple of these films in this era.
Yeah.
We get Alan Arbus. Wow, I didn't know that was, wow, hold up. That's crazy. John Perec. We also get Robert Lee Minor, Lee the Bro. I mean, that's how you would say it. Yo, my man, Lee the Bro. Go see the Bro Lee.
Yo, it's too early. I can't fuck with you right now.
I guess that's Creole or something.
Right.
We get Peaches Jones, Robert Moreno, Mwako Kumbuka. Plays Grover. Wow.
Right.
Linda Haynes. I guess the rest of these people are, have pretty minor roles, different various characters in this world created by this film. But this thing is interesting, man. Like it's coming out of that exploitation era, and it does have a lot of the exploitation era hangups, but I think what makes this stand above the pack is Pam Grier herself, and in this thing, but there's some cool things. We'll get into that, man.
Yes.
But yeah, what's something that stands out, man?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna try and talk about this film without blushing. Talking about my ultimate crush ever in life, since a little guy to still now. So. For me, like, what stands out more than anything is this story. It stands out, like, in a major way, because it has this, like, this vigilante element. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you break it down, right? Like, she's almost in essence in a simpler form, like Batman, or like fucking
Batman with no money.
Yeah, with no money. I mean, she's a nurse, so she does her good deeds when she has the mask off. But then when she goes like prostitute mode, she's taking out all the pimps and the people that are bringing problems to the world, or almost even.
Man, I'd wager she's probably better than Batman. Cause think
she
about
is
it,
better than Batman.
Batman, he's hiding behind all this gear, all these gadgetry, but she's doing Batman stuff with no gear, no martial arts skills, and no, none of that stuff to fall back on. She's really going into the midst, like undercover in a way.
In the beginning, dog, she's wearing a sundress, and you know when she gets her first victim, she's like, "Oh, turn out the lights, baby." Next thing you know, a fucking sawed-off shotgun gun comes out of nowhere. Yeah, where did you hide that?
Maybe if you
where'd you hide that?
Maybe tap to the or maybe the back. Or
man,
somewhere.
she pulled that thing out sandpaper smooth, and it was like, yo, now it's time to catch some bodies. So, I thought that was really, really cool. And, also, the thing about this story as well is when we come to films of this era, like, I love this, like, stick it to the man element that they all have. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not like fuck the government, but it's, if you're doing dirty, you're going to get exposed. And, when it comes to these Blaxploitation films, I love how they put a heavy light on the bullcrap that the government's doing. I mean,
it's black, so the day-to-day black struggle is being depicted in here. Like in a way, she is doing this vigilante stuff, but she's doing it from the point of view. And there's several times during the film where they mention, the corrupt politicians and the government that's been ineffective,
crooked
and
cops,
stuff like that.
People that are taking payroll, and yes, there are many elements in these style films that are over exaggerated. When it comes to our characters, the depictions of them, but when it comes to the corruption in the government, that is not over exaggerated. We still see that. You want to see how messed up it is? Just watch the news in the morning. Even though like this film is kind of like you can watch it and you can play by play it if you want, but it still has some pretty cool plot twists in there that will still, like, if you don't know, it's gonna drop your jaw. Like that third phase, when you really see what's going on, where when she's giving her love in the right ways, and somebody tries to pull the wool on her.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I mean, basically, that is one thing. I do want to push back. I do kind of wish we saw the sister. Like we're catching this in motion because basically the whole thing goes into play. Apparently, her sister, got into it with some pushers and pimps, and ended up strung out, and it ruined her life. And
dude, she was a little kid.
Yeah, and she was young too when she got into this. So I can't remember though. Is the sister still alive?
Or she's still alive, but she's like in like a rehab house. But Pam Grier, when she's talking to the cop, like, dude, apparently she was getting money. And some of these like drug addicts or pushers or whatever, they knew that she was getting this bread. At age 11, start shoving heroin on her. What the fuck? I mean, at 11, you're learning how to write cursive. You're not supposed to be shooting up.
Think about Taxi Driver we just saw. I'm pretty sure. I mean, they didn't show that, but Jodie Foster was probably strung out too.
She was 12.
She probably was on something too, and in that life. So it's But I do kind of wish we got a little bit more, or at least, or at least saw the sister or something.
We only see that one visit when she goes with the cop, and then she has minimal interaction with the sister, and she's like, "Oh, you're looking better now." But I mean, apparently, like they shoved so much in her arms so fast that it fucked her up.
Watching this, Black Dynamite lifted a couple scenes off of this. That scene was in Black Dynamite when she goes to see the orphans, like that's in Black Dynamite, and also the scene where when Pam goes to work the next day after she kills the first the shotguns, and that doctor has the same tone and attitude as a doctor in Black Dynamite. That was like, it's like, Black Dynamite, I can't keep patching you up like this.
Yeah, and it's so funny
it's
because
so crazy.
Like
when I watch this,
she just caught a body, and then she goes to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, to save a life. So you take a life to save a life, and then she goes in the operating room, and the doctor's like, he's like, "Damn it, Coffee, I need you to get your stuff together. Leave the operating room."
I mean, this thing has a lot of cheese, a lot of 70s cheese, a lot of exploitation cheese. But the story is great for me, man. Like I love seeing her going through the motions of getting to the top eventually, and she's using what she's got, man. She's a beautiful woman. So that's first of all her getting. That's first of all her getting in. Like that gets her in so many rooms. It gets her in so many rooms along the way, man, and everyone lets their guard down because they want to hit it.
Yeah.
So, it leads to some really funny
blame
scenes,
them, though?
man. I love that stuff, man. And speaking of which, Sid Haig is great too in this, man. And by then they had done several films together. By the time this comes out, I think at least one of the Birdcage films, and I don't know
They
if
did
he's
Coffee. They did Foxy Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They did gosh, I want to say he might have a sneak appearance in Friday Foster.
Mm-hmm.
And then, dude, you can tell that they're, they got long reach and a lot of love for each other, because then he even shows up as the judge in Jackie Brown, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, I think
You know what I mean?
that was definitely a Tarantino pull from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he did so many things, at this point, and I also made a remark earlier. We were talking about it, man. He was like the first Vin Diesel, because he's really racially ambiguous, and he's playing so many type of different characters, man, in this thing. So they did the Big Dollhouse and the Big Birdcage together.
Nice.
So
there you go.
Which is crazy. 2 prison exploitation films, and they also were in Black Mama, White Mama together. So this is a crazy combination of actors that are in films together, man. You know what I'm saying? It's rare that you see that together, where you see a run of actors that are
togetherness.
both popping up. And
it's like peanut butter and jelly, man. They're good alone, but they are great together, and they give us this. And like you said, man, when it comes to this cast and these characters, I mean, ultimately we have the magnificent Pam Grier, and she grabs the audience. She grabs this story by the nuts, okay, and then swings it around tornado style. But then also, the way that she presents her character, like, I mean, she's the essence of beauty. When she comes on the screen, you see that, like, she's confident, and justifiably so. But her character is also got this moral compass that she's very in tune with, and she leads with her heart.
A little bit.
She's doing the right things for the wrong reasons. Well, the wrong things for the right reasons.
I mean, I love that vigilante aspect, but that's what was cracking me up, and I think that's what was cracking up the audience when we were rewatching. When we watched it Friday night, because it was like there's moments where she kind of doesn't say what she's doing to other characters, but kind of unloads.
Dog, she's snitching on herself to the cop.
And it is funny the way she's saying it. It's like, you ever feel just bad about you did something? I was like, you're killing people, Pam.
You're killing people. And then she looks at the cop. She's like, dude, when somebody piss you off so much and they do the wrong thing, don't you just want to kill them? And he's like, well, no, you can't do that. And she was like, but don't you just want to? It's like, what the
it's funny to me, because in a way she's kind of convinced herself that it's not that bad. They wronged me first. After a while, she's having fun in some act whenever she can with this a little bit. But it's funny, man, because like I think Pam Grier herself will become a better actor over the years. This isn't her best work, and even that's still fun, because it's like she's still going in with just full confidence, and like the pool scene when she meets King George. It's
What's
amazing.
up, man? What's up, man?
So but I mean, it's silly, but it also plays into she's listening. Like the woman told her the guy likes his women exotic, so her whole thing is, all right, I'm going to show up and I'm just going to put on this fake Jamaican accent, which is the worst, but it's also the best.
Yes,
because all she does is takes on a British accent and then throws "man"
at the end
of each sentence.
Yeah.
So it's like,
oh, you like prostitutes, man? I'm the best, man. It's like, are you kidding me? This is happening.
I'm the best at what I do, man.
Yes, man.
Of course, man.
Yeah, and but even though
I love it, because even the later on there's a scene with one of his King George's main woman, the one that
she lost all accent.
But she says it. She's like, oh, that fake black chick. Like she even picked up the other, because there's a scene where he introduces her to the other women.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you got it going on here, man.
Yeah. And he's like, everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Mystique. Yeah. But then the one that's hating, she's like, who the fuck is Mystic?
It's great, man.
But you know what? This also is like it shows the inventiveness, and also just the effort from the raw talent that Pam Grier brought to this film. Because like, she was the one who told the writers and directors that it would be a good idea for her to hide weapons in her hair. She did it 2 times in this film. Like, bro, before the whole big brawl, you know what I'm saying? Which I must say, as a dude who likes women, I mean, everyone's sexual preference, hey, that's your thing. But I'm a dude that likes chicks and loves boobies, okay? And this fucking scene right here, like she gets in a fight and progressively rips off the shirt of every woman that she beats up.
I will give this film props for recognizing that though, because I don't think a lot of creators were self-aware at the time. Like they threw this stuff in there, but the way they did it, it was obvious. Like this is the gag.
This
We're gonna
is the
rip
gag.
everyone's top off in the scene.
She punched someone in the jaw and then on their way down, like rip.
Even the sound effect.
The sound effect, rip, rip.
It was,
and then the chicks are like,
like for that to happen, I would expect something like that to show up in 75, but it's 72 and they already like, or 73, and they already like it's fun. It's silly, it's goofy. It feels like something you would expect to see in Austin Powers, but Austin Powers can't get R-rated like this.
Yeah,
you know?
but that's the thing though. Like even with the silliness, there's still this like this realistic rawness behind it. I mean, not to say that this film is real or its portrayal of the things that are going on. No, that's not what I'm saying. But the inventiveness behind it, like dog. Imagine grabbing someone by the hair who has a fucking head full of razor blades. I mean, my goodness, like that in itself, well, it's cringeworthy, but at the same time, you're like, whoa, that's some real deal stuff.
Nutty.
She is the real life Batman. Like she don't need no utility belt, bro. She got razors in her hair.
That was the plot armor.
Wow. Are you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? And then even later in the film, when she gets kidnapped by, like, you know, and I love Mr. Sid, but man, he's the rapiest goon ever, dog. Like in every film that he's in. Yes. So you beat the boyfriend into like a concussion or you know, almost like in the vegetative state, and then he's like, oh, by the way, oh, let me rip these boobies off, and then he has the wherewithal to take his gloves off so he can
get the real.
He was like, the other dude's like, yo, we're not here for this. He's like, wait, let me take this glove off. Oh man,
you know what's bugging me out about this film though?
What?
Like, there's a lot of real serious things that are really taken like that whole thing, man. Because it's a thing. It's kind of messed up with serious crime where sometimes robberies do turn to rapes, and you're just looking at this. Possibly go like, but it's done in such a way where I couldn't help but laugh. I'm like, even later on when King George is dragged to death, and I'm like, this is so similar.
Dog. It's cringeworthy.
But I was laughing because it's so similar to how a lot of black dudes got lynched back in the days. But when you're watching his body being dragged, and you could tell it's like he's
going out of his way to hit him, like make sure his body hits every box.
You can tell it's a dummy being dragged, and you're just like, I couldn't help but laugh. Like I was in the theater the other night, and I was like,
you were the only dude, like, and I'm looking at you like I was like, bro, make sure they know it's you that's laughing, not me. All right, like, fuck, man.
I wasn't the only one because it just looked so goofy, and the way he's hitting everything along the way, I was like, oh, he's dead, he's gone.
He was dead.
And then when that scene ends, the funniest part was Sid's character tells the limo driver, because they banged up his limo. He's like, yeah, if you need a job, come holler at us. He's like, we're not that bad.
We're good guys.
Yeah, we're not that.
What?
And then they show a shot of the guy just all just beat up,
body mangled, and everything.
I'm just like, man, the humor is here, dude. It's a lot. Some of it is unintentional, but when they go for it, it actually lands, dude.
It does. And you know what? On that note, bro, like the way this film was shot, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful art at its finest time. You know what I mean? Back when, you know, film stock was different. So, I mean, it has that 70s grittiness while you look at it, but the camera angles and the way that this film was shot, like the director did a great job. The cameraman did a great job with how they delivered this film to us as a viewer. I mean, you're watching it, you get a first class seat into just this wild, overextended, over-exaggerated film that is really hitting every note that you want.
I think they have an advantage because during this time period, the only way to shoot was film, period. So it had a certain look built in. So you see some things now, and that kind of irks me a little bit when things are shot on like some kind of digital photography or some methods that they use, and it just doesn't look quite right. It kind of has that soap opera feel to it.
No, I want my man like this, doing that old school shit, man. Get your wrist working, earn your muscles, man. Earn that film.
But I think some of the cameras now can shoot stuff to look, similar to this nowadays. But that film stock just gives it a certain look, a certain time period. It's almost like a time capsule, man.
But even watching it now, like the film stock, it's not devalued. It's not like, oh, I need this in HD. No, you're seeing everything crisp, clean, and it's shot so well. But also, you know that you're watching a vintage film. But that also, in today's eyes,
the era had a look to it. Yeah.
And it will pull you right into it, not just with the way the film was shot, but the fucking music. Dog, I was in the theater tapping my feet. Like, I was like, man, they about to have me in this motherfucker doing my groove thing, because, man, this soundtrack is so groovy. And, you know, Pam Grier, you's a bad one because you had a theme song. Coffee is the color of your skin. And that was great. I love that. You know what I'm saying? I've been singing that all morning. But you know what was even cooler than her theme song? Was King George's Pimptro. When he pulls up in that what was it? It's a 1961 Cadillac Fleetwood 75, right? Only 699 were made. In 1970, that thing cost $10,000. But in 2023, that thing costing $90,000, dog. You can buy two houses.
Yeah, that's a high end Mercedes, man.
Yes, and it was very limited. But when my man pulls up and he has the coolest Pimptro ever, because all they keep doing is seeing King George behind some saxophone and some jazzy beats. King George, he's a real guy.
Yeah,
King George.
But I mean, it's meant to show you. I mean, shout out to Roy Ayers, man, legendary jazz man, who did this soundtrack and score. But it was cool, man. Like most of the characters had or the big moments. Like, you even look at like how the titles on this album are. You got Escape, King George. So I guess that's King George's intro. Coffee is the color. That's Coffee's theme song. Coffee Baby. The King's Last Ride. So I guess that was playing when King George took his last ride.
That's fucked up. Jeez, man.
And there's another one. The King is Dead. Vitrioni's. So that's Vitrioni's theme, but it's also the King is Dead. So maybe we meet Vitrioni when he's gloating about King George being taken out of here.
Yeah, when he feels like he's really king.
One of the songs is called Brawling Broads. So
that must have been the one when all, you know,
when all the craziness is going on. The wild fight.
Oh, wow. And look, we just talked it up. It's happening right now in front of us.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to still stay focused on the show because I'm about to redirect and just start watching.
But it's cool, though, because like I mean, you get around to it, man. This film was monumental at the time. You know, like I said, the start of Pam Grier's solo career, because she had did some you know, women in prison films, smaller roles in that, and I think there's a film called Hitman that I implore everyone to watch. Bernie Casey film. And he's a hitman in this, but I think Pam Grier is one of his girls in this, but she kind of turns on him and ends up getting eaten by the lions. And I was like, this is so wild. Like, watching that movie, and it's just a good movie. It's a great movie from this era as well. He's like a black James Bond kind of character. But and I mentioned that if this film Coffee had came out before Hitman came out, there's no way Pam Grier would have got eaten by those lions, or even been in that small role like that, you know? Because I'm trying to think of her filmography at the time. So this is 73.
I think she started, like I said, with the Corman collections. You had Black Mama, White Mama, and the Bird Cages, but. Before that, I mean, and then it was really wild because when we watched before we watched the film, this Mr. George, like he was on to some shit. Like, Pam Grier wasn't even an actress at the time. She didn't aspire to be an actress. Yeah. She just had such natural beauty.
She was trying to get
money for school tuition, and she's just so mesmerizing and so beautiful that somebody saw her and was like, yo, we need to put you on the screen.
But like I said, though, Hitman was 72, so that was right before this, this year, in this year she came out with Black Mama, White Mama, splitting, you know, co-starring, but Coffee was her debut. But also in 73, she did have a role in Scream, Blacklist Scream, you know, which is crazy. But then I guess later on too, man, she would come in and do smaller parts, just, you know, like in the film Drum, which is crazy, which is how do you make Mandingo 2 times? Because that's essentially what Drum is. But I feel like I like Drum a little better, and maybe because it has Pam Grier in it, you know.
Well, dude, anything she's in is I'm a fan. I don't give a fuck.
But it's crazy because Drum is the exact same movie as Mandingo. It's the same damn movie. But starring my man, starring my man Ken Norton. I think he was the first guy to beat. I think he might have knocked out Muhammad Ali, so that was his thing to fame. And then he got into the movies. But you know,
no, like, he was a football player. I thought. Oh no, he was a box. No, Ken Norton Jr. played for San Francisco. Okay.
Yeah.
There
so,
we go.
but just looking at you know, coming in, I think her first appearance was in Ebert's. I think Roger Ebert. He wrote this movie Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. That was her first thing. And then she did Big Doll House, Women in Cages, Twilight People. Haven't seen that.
I haven't either.
Cool Breeze. The Big Bird Cage, Hitman, Black Mama, White Mama, Coffee, Scream, Blackula Scream, then The Arena, Foxy Brown.
Good one. Yeah, beautiful movie. Foxy Brown.
Sheba Baby, Bucktown. I love Bucktown, man.
Yeah, Bucktown.
We got to do Bucktown.
Who run the block? Buck.
Friday Foster, Drum. Twilight of Love, Grease Lightning, Fort Apache, The Bronx. There's a lot of like just from this era, just great films in general. Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is one I want to mention on here as well. But we got a lot, man. She's got a long filmography. Her last film that she was in was Palms in 2019. Okay. I mean, overall, man, I definitely love Coffee, man. It's a great film. It has its cheese, but that's part of the fun, man. Like everything's not going to be perfect. She was pretty new to the game and finding her ways. And like I said, later on she would become a much better, you know, actress. But what's depicted in this film is good enough, man. And this thing is a fun, good time, man. It is testament to how that audience reaction was when we saw this film the other night. Just a lot of laughs, a lot of like just cheering and like, yo, let's go, dude, Pam.
Everyone was happy. Everyone was. We were all rooting for Pam. And look, I'm gonna say it like this, man. In my day-to-day life, I don't drink coffee. Okay, I'm not a coffee drinker, but this is coffee that I put in my cup anytime. Dig what I'm saying? I love this film. It's great. It's entertaining. It hits. I don't know how it hit in the 70s, but I know how it hit ever since I have seen it. I watched this film over and over and over again for multiple reasons. Okay, but it's enjoyable. It's fun, and this is one of the ones that broke the mold for this style of film. When it comes to blaxploitation films, there are 3 that I could think of right now that are they are groundbreaking, and that is Coffee, Superfly, and The Mac. Okay, all the other ones, you know what I'm saying, they're good in their own right, but those 3 are groundbreaking. They are must watches. Anyone who calls themselves a film lover has to see these films because these are tone setters right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's a great thing, man. Check it out if you haven't seen it, and if you've seen it, watch it again, man. And yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up, man. This has been Monk. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram, and follow us at FTC Net on Instagram as well, man. You know.
And this is Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me at Bobby Blockbuster 118 on the gram.
All right, so man, we are. All right.